It's that juicy facting time of the week again, also known by its preferred name, Thursday. Welcome back to 90+1, where today we've travelled to North London in search of some interesting Dial Square facts. 1. Dial Square, I hear you ask. What's that? Well, it's actually what Arsenal were first called when they were founded back in 1886. 2. Dial Square was the name of the specific workplace of Arsenal's founders, with David Danskin acting as their first captain. They were renamed Royal Arsenal a month later, which was the name of their entire workplace complex, the Royal Arsenal. 3. Arsenal have changed their name more times than Prince, with another name change in 1893, becoming Woolwich Arsenal. 4. The club formerly known as Royal Arsenal moved to Highbury, North London, leading to a third name change. They became The Arsenal. Over time they slowly dropped the from their name and just became Arsenal. 5. Arsenal's biggest ever loss was a savage 8-0 loss to Loughborough in 1896. 6. Arsenal got their own back 4 years later, obliterating Loughborough 12-0 in 1900. 7. This is my example of an incredible draw. But Arsenal's most incredible draw was a record-tying 6-all draw against Leicester in 1930. 8. Arsenal's first kit was donated to them by Nottingham Forest, who also gave them their first football. 9. The white sleeves on the kit weren't introduced until 1933, with manager Herbert Chapman adding them so the players could pick each other out easier. 10. Arsenal are nicknamed the Gunners, not as a result of any firearm-related crimes, but because their founding members worked as munition makers. 11. In 1897, Scotsman Thomas Mitchell became Arsenal's first manager. He was also the first referee to officiate in England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. 12. 4 years prior in 1893, Arsenal were the first Southern team to join the Football League. 13. What's 100 times 58 plus 10 squared plus 82 minus 5,969? It's not only a completely irrelevant and unnecessary and elaborate segue into this next fact, but it also equals 13, the exact amount of times Arsenal have won England's top division. 14. They first laid their hands on England's top title way back in 1931, in a season where Manchester United were relegated and Aston Villa were their title rivals. 15. They jointly hold the record for most consecutive league titles, winning Division 1 3 times in a row from 1932 to 1935. Liverpool, Huddersfield and Manchester United have achieved the same feat, although United have managed to do it twice. 16. Arsenal are FA Cup masters, winning an English record 13 titles. 17. It shouldn't surprise you then when I tell you that Arsenal have played the most FA Cup games with 440. 18. They would have 20 titles if they didn't lose the other 7 finals that they've been in, with Arsenal holding the record of most FA Cup final appearances. 19. 2003 was a great year all round. Finding Nemo was found. Elton John asked if everyone was ready for love, and the West invaded Iraq. Okay, that one was actually a bit of a downer. But Arsenal had a great year, going unbeaten in the 2003-04 season to win the Premier League. 20. No one else has managed to win the Premier League unbeaten, so Arsenal were made a special gold version to celebrate their unique triumph. 21. They lasted 11 more league games unbeaten into the next season, finally succumbing to a 2-0 loss to Manchester United, leaving their record at an incredible 49 games unbeaten. 22. Arsenal's longest winning run surprisingly didn't come during their invincible season, but came just before, winning 14 games in a row from February until August in 2002. 23. Since 2003-04, Arsenal haven't won the league, but they've gotten closest the most times, finishing second best in 6 seasons since 1992. 24. However, as much as it feels like trophies escape them, they can be proud of the fact that they are the third most successful team in England with 46 trophies, only behind Liverpool and Manchester United. 25. I'm glued to the telly every weekend watching every minute of the Premier League, but the first time you could watch football on TV was in 1937, with Arsenal versus Arsenal reserves being the first ever televised football match. 26. What do you call a TV for blind people? That's right, radio, with Arsenal featuring in the first radio broadcasted football match playing Sheffield Wednesday in 1927. 27. That's match of the day, if you couldn't tell there, with Arsenal appearing in the first episode against Liverpool in 1964. 28. First is rarely where Arsenal finish in the league, but they've managed another first here, with the Gunners playing in the first game broadcast in 3D in 2010. 29. Alongside with Chelsea, Arsenal were one of the first clubs to wear numbers on the back of their shirts in 1928. 30. Arsenal are the only team to have not been relegated since 1919, with them coming closest in 1925, finishing one place off relegation. The lowest Arsenal have finished in the Premier League was 12th in 1995. 31. The team's first Premier League game was an embarrassing 4-2 defeat at home to Norwich. Bloody Norwich. Who on earth can't beat Norwich? No offence Norwich, but you are literally Premier League cannon fodder. 32. The North London club has the achievement of most away goals scored in a season, with 60 away goals in 1930. 33. They also have scored in 55 consecutive matches, from May 2001 to November 2002, an incredible English record. 34. Arsenal lay claim to having a title which no other club has, and that's the Football Centenary Trophy. The trophy was a knockout competition in 1988 to celebrate 100 years of the Football League, with Arsenal beating United 2-1 at Wembley. 35. Two real-life titles that Arsenal have won that people actually value were both the League Cup and FA Cup in 1993, the first club to win that version of the double. 36. Arsenal first played their games on Plumstead Common. Then they moved to the Manor Ground in 1888, before eventually ending up at the famous Highbury in 1913. 37. Highbury's peak capacity was 73,000 at one point, before falling to 38,500 by the time Arsenal moved to the Emirates in 2006. 38. Just like where they like to finish in the league every year, the Gunners feature in 3rd and 4th for the record of largest attendance. 39. However, they do have the highest attendance ever for a league match, with 83,260 watching them play Manchester United at Manchester City's ground, Main Road. 40. Highbury's importance in the area was so much so that the underground station there was renamed to Arsenal in 1932, making it the only tube station to be named after a football club. 41. In 1997-98, Arsene Wenger was the first foreign manager to win the Premier League, as well as being the first foreign manager to win the double, nabbing a cheeky League Cup in the same season. 42. The Frenchman is also the first and only foreign manager the side has had, with all the others hailing from England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. 43. Arsene Wenger is not only the longest Arsenal manager, but he's also the longest serving manager, with just under 21 years and counting. 44. Wenger also has the biggest win percentage as Arsenal manager, with an impressive 57.57%. 45. Arsenal's shortest serving manager was William Elcote for 25 matches in 1898. There's obviously no photo for this, so please appreciate this educated guess on my behalf. 46. Some people say there's too much money in football, others say there's nothing to worry about. The lovely people at the BBC decided to do a study and found that Arsenal's cheapest season ticket is £1,014 and their dearest is £2,013, with their most expensive matchday ticket coming in at £97, making Arsenal the most expensive club to watch in England. 47. As of 2017, Arsenal are the 6th most valuable club in the world. The highest ranking was 3rd from 2007 until 2011. They've fallen behind Manchester United, Bayern Munich and Manchester City in recent years, but they're still worth £1.9 billion, so it's nothing to be sniffed at. 48. The club are often criticised for not spending enough money on decent players to keep up with the other top teams. Arsenal have spent £831,083,654 and 32 pence since 1992, which is only the 6th most, with Tottenham, Liverpool, United, City and Chelsea ahead of them. 49. Arsenal's record signing is Frenchman Alexandre Lacazette for £45 million. The 26-year-old scored within 94 seconds of his debut against Leicester. 50. The biggest fee they've received for a player was $29.8 million for Cesc Fabregas from Barcelona in 2011. Cesc Fabregas wanted to return to Arsenal 3 years later, but Wenger didn't want him, so Chelsea snapped him up. Fabregas is now hated by a lot of Arsenal fans. No, it doesn't make any sense to me either. 51. The best club in the world, Manchester City, clearly love a bit of Arsenal, as they have bought 5 players from them since 2009. Kolo Touré, Adebayor, Gaël Clichy, Samir Nasri and Bakary Sagna have all turned sky blue, as well as Patrick Vieira and Mikel Arteta, both opting for City after retiring. 52. Thierry Henry, or as I like to call him in school, Terry Henry, is Arsenal's top goal scorer of all time on 228 goals. The fashionably dressed Ian Wright is second with 185 goals. 53. Henry also has the most European appearances for the Gunners with 86, although he failed to win any European silverware until he made the world travel path to Barcelona. 54. Henry has legendary status at Arsenal, so much so that a statue of him sits outside the Emirates, depicting his celebration after his wonder goal against rivals Tottenham in 2002. 55. 4 more statues joined Henry outside the Emirates, with Ken Fryer, Dennis Bergkamp, Herbert Chapman and Tony Adams all getting a statue of their own. 56. At the age of 16, I got an A in history for a mightily impressive World War II essay. At the age of 16 and 212 days, Cesc Fabregas scored his first goal for Arsenal, becoming the youngest goal scorer. Mine's more impressive, mate. Move over. 57. Irish international David O'Leary is Arsenal's current highest appearance maker, with 722 games spanning 18 years. The increasingly mental Tony Adams is second, with 669. 58. Tony Adams is the only person to spend their entire playing career at Arsenal, making his debut in 1983 and retiring in 2002. 59. The questionably dressed man is impressively the only player in English football history to have captained a title-winning team in 3 decades. 60. Nicklas Bendtner. Lord Bendtner, the Danish Pelé. Arsenal legend Nicklas Bendtner is somehow the man who scored English football's fastest goal by a substitute, taking 6.6 seconds to score his first Premier League goal against Tottenham of all teams. 61. The only man who can rock a ponytail and a moustache and not look like he should have his computer immediately searched by the authorities is the legendary keeper David Seaman. The Englishman is the Gunners' best keeper of all time, keeping 138 clean sheets in 325 Premier League appearances. 62. In 1971, Arsenal won Division 1, and they were given the opportunity to complete their first double by winning the FA Cup. With the final locked at 1-1 in extra time, Londoner Charlie George scored a header in the 111th minute and completed the double for Arsenal. George moved on to Derby a few years later, and even lost a finger in a freak lawnmower accident in 1980. 63. Arsenal are one of the multiple top-tier clubs based in London, but their main rivals are Harry Kane and his army of Lilywhites, Tottenham Hotspur. 64. In 1887, the first game between the sides was played at Tottenham Marshes. Arsenal were losing 2-1 before the players complained that it was too dark, and the game was called off with only 15 minutes left. 65. Jimmy Robertson and Emmanuel Adebayor are the only 2 players to have scored for both sides in the North London derby. 66. The Gunners have twice won the title at Tottenham's ground. Ray Kennedy with a late header in 1971, and Vieira and Perez earning a point in the invincible 2003-04 season. 67. The much-loved Adebayor has scored the most goals in the derby with 10. However, take away his 2 goals for Tottenham, and he's joint with Alan Sunderland and Robert Perez on 8. 68. Arsenal claimed the medal for the biggest derby win, smashing Spurs a cheeky 6-0 in 1935. 69. In just 8 years you could give birth 11 times, or you could become almost 9 years older than before. Instead of either of those, Arsenal opted to remain unbeaten against Tottenham from March 2000 to January 2008, playing 21 games. 70. In 2006, Arsenal became the first London club to reach the Champions League final. 71. After 18 minutes, Jens Lehmann was sent off for bringing down Samuel Eto'o, before Sol Campbell rose high to head home Henry's free kick 19 minutes later. Arsenal clung on and looked like they were going to hold out for the win, but Eto'o was having none of that, scoring in the 76th minute, before Belletti compounded Arsenal's misery by scoring the winner in the 80th minute. 72. Wenger once painfully described 4th place as a trophy, which if it were true, would mean they would have won it 14 times. Finishing in 4th more than any other position in their history. 73. However, Arsenal cannot seem to win the bloody thing. After getting so close in 2006, they have been knocked out at the round of 16 from 2011 until 2017. Just give up, man. Let someone else have a go. What a waste of time. Let's just throw a club like West Brom in there for a laugh. That'd be more interesting to watch. 74. Arsenal's obsession with their 4th place trophy means they have participated in 19 consecutive European campaigns from 1998 to 2017, only second to Real Madrid's 21. 75. My sheets are mostly clean, but Arsenal's were pearly white in the 2006 Champions League campaign, going a European record 995 minutes without conceding a goal. 76. Cover your eyes and ears, Arsenal fans. Your good friend Bayern Munich is here to inflict Arsenal's heaviest European defeat. The Germans beat them 5-1 on 3 separate occasions within the past 2 years. 77. The Gunners are the only English club to have beaten Madrid at the Bernabeu, Bayern at the Allianz, and AC Milan at the San Siro. 78. They are also the only British club to have beaten both Milanese clubs at the San Siro. 79. Arsenal have fought to be the first team to field a Champions League 11 with 11 different nationalities, winning 2-1 away to Hamburg in 2006. 80. You may know Alan Smith for riveting FIFA commentary, but he's also an Arsenal legend, once scoring 4 against Austria Vienna in 1992. 81. Ted Drake would laugh at scoring only 4 goals in a game though, as he put 7 goals away to Aston Villa in 1931. 82. One European Cup Arsenal have won is the Intercities Fairs Cup in 1970. It was essentially a series of friendlies and holds about as much prestige as winning the Emirates Cup. 83. The Emirates Cup is a pre-season trophy that Arsenal created which contains 4 teams, one of which is always Arsenal. You get the usual 3 points for a win, but you also get a point for every goal scored. 84. This meant in 2017's edition, Arsenal won it despite only winning 1 game and Sevilla winning 2. Oh, and you also only played 2 matches rather than the sensible 3. I don't get it either. 85. Arsenal have won their weird rubbish made up cup 5 times. Other teams to have won it are Hamburg, New York Red Bulls, Galatasaray and Valencia. 86. One potentially respectable European Cup that they have won is the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup in 1994. 87. Arsenal's first crest featured 3 cannons from a top-down view, with a design similar to the coat of arms of the metropolitan borough of Woolwich, where they were based. 88. From 1927 to 1967, they went through some shielded Art Deco designs before opting for probably their classiest badge they've ever had, a simple cannon between 1967 to 1989. 89. In the 90s, Arsenal switched to this design that you might recognise, with the Latin Victoria Concordia Crescit, which translates to victory grows out of harmony. 90. We now arrive at the current crest, which rocked up in 2002. It was created to bring Arsenal into the modern commercial era, but in my opinion, looks a bit boring. However, this channel isn't called 90+1 Opinions, so I'll keep my foul mouth shut and carry on. 91. We're finally here. This is the last fact. Let's see what fact I have cooking up for you. Oh look, it's the Queen, and she's wearing an Arsenal shirt. Prince Harry has one too. That's right, Arsenal have 2 very royal fans, as well as a huge celebrity contingent that includes Idris Elba, P. Diddy, Lewis Hamilton, Mo Farah, and David Miliband, amongst others. And that is it. Thank you ever so much for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos, and don't forget to drop a disgusting like, comment telling me my voice is rather peculiar, and subscribe so I have something nice to tell my mum about. Cheers!